Yay, we're live. It always tastes me in the beginning. It's like, are we live? Are we going to go live? Is it going to work? Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. I already have some people here. Hello, love. Feel free to, as I always say, share anything you want to in the chat. Oh my goodness, I'm so happy to be here. And also happy 222. I didn't even realize that until just now. So, Kawinky Dink. Um, I'm just feeling really calm because before I jumped on here, I had like a little light bath myself. So um, I'm just so grateful. And I have so much to share. I'm hoping that I can communicate it well because, like, I just have all of these things that, have been bubbling up. And when I get on here, it's kind of like, I don't know. It's like it's very spontaneous because even if I try to like prepare something, I don't end up using it. It just kind of flows. So it's always like a little, even like that, it's sort of like a little trust fall with the universe, with my higher self. Is like, okay, let's hope that this comes through, and it really always does. I just gotta get out of my own way. So it's just one of those things. Like most things at this time is just about showing up and getting out of your own way. That's really the creative formula with anything. But before we get into anything, I just want to take a moment for all of us, wherever you are. If you're relaxing or even if you're like doing something while you're listening to this, you can take a moment with me before we get into it to just sort of breathe and feel and get really present, get really in the body, because that's kind of what we're going to be part of what we're going to be talking about today. So go ahead and take a big beautiful breath and let it out, and just keep that rolling. There's something really powerful about deep audible breathing. Just letting it out. I've learned that. I used to be like, oh dear, I don't want to make a sound when I breathe. When really, that's actually like really, it's really important. Sometimes that's how you know you're really getting that breath in. But yeah, just taking a moment to whatever you're doing, just really focus on your breath. What a blessing. The breath is always moving things in and moving things out. The ebb and flow. And just feel your body right now. Just take a moment to like just feel your body again, whatever you're doing. And just notice and observe, what you might be feeling. Um, maybe calm, maybe anxiety, maybe something else. Just take a moment to like just feel it without having to judge it. Or maybe you're having a lot of thoughts, just observe it. Just take a moment to observe it and come back to the present moment. Beautiful. It's always nice to just start that off and setting this intention that this is helpful for everyone who is listening. Oh my goodness. So let's see where to dive in. Really crazy. I mean, really crazy. Just I feel like I have to say that every time, just continuing to kind of reach these new levels of being, of reality. My friend sent me this meme yesterday. It's like reality got hands. And we both just really laughed at that. That's so funny because yeah, reality is crazy. So I digress. But yeah, I mean, things really are shifting so intensely. And something I want to share, is something I've been noticing more and more, which I've been feeling this for a long time. But um, definitely, not only are we feeling a lot of our own stuff, our own perhaps feelings or thoughts, but just another reminder, these simple but much needed, consistent reminders that, um, there's a lot of collective energy as well that you might be feeling. um, fear, unworthiness, lack, greed, these kinds of things that are very much coming up right now. And if you've been on this healing journey for a while, you might find, it kind of becomes less and less personal, a lot of this stuff. But the biggest thing that I want to share on this topic is just the importance of feeling. I've talked about this a lot before, but just a reminder, the importance of being, in my experience, being in a feeling state and allowing yourself to feel these things without having to, I guess, attach onto them or dwell in them, or even like try to understand them or fix them or change them. I think there's something really powerful about just being able to sometimes allow energy to move through your body and having the awareness to know that that's what's happening. It's just energy moving through your body, and it can allow that to move through you. So, this is just a practice of feeling, and also having this sort of focus, throughout your day. Again, I say that a lot. This is such a big word for me. It's been such a life-changing paradigm shift for me. Is just more than anything, just really, really, really being conscious throughout my day as much as I can of where is my focus going? Where is my focus going? Is my focus going on my thoughts that I'm having? Is my focus going on, what I'm trying to do or accomplish? Or is my focus going on all the reasons why I can't do what I want to do? Or whatever, because our focus is literally our greatest creative tool, our greatest creative gift. What we focus on seems to just amplify and multiply without any, what's the word? There's not really any limits, or discrepancy on what that is. It's just really like what we focus on really continues to sort of amplify. So it's like, whatever we're focusing on is so, so, so powerful. And like I said before, there's so many distractions. And I think that, that's only getting more and more. So focus, having the discipline of just being aware of your focus and realizing how powerful your choices on what you're choosing to focus on in every moment. So that's just a little reminder. I think the heart of what I really want to get into, though, right now, that I think is so important is continuing, which is completely relevant to what I'm saying, is continuing to practice this skill of remembering who you are. You are the light. You are the light. Remembering to and knowing who you are, practicing this as a skill, as a reminder, is so, so powerful, because this is part of how we start to really embody and be in intimate touch with who we really are, which is this part of ourselves, our true selves. People say our higher selves, the part of ourselves that is invincible, that is unshakable, that is eternally grounded and flowing and unafraid and unashamed and unfazed by anything of this world, completely unfazed by anything of this world. This is such a core important practice because, again, not only is it the connection to who you really are, which that comes with its own, that's pretty much enlightenment, in itself, but also with what we're going through, what I see that we're going through, at least in the collective and humanity, with everything continuing to intensify and all of these things getting louder, in the external world, as well as within our own internal world. And a lot of us might be feeling this, or if you aren't, you probably will be. And not only are you going to be, But what's really, coming up right now is that a lot more people are, and a lot more people will be. You probably see this in your life, and this is also including people that maybe have no idea any of what we're talking about right now. I think pretty much everyone is slowly starting to feel and see more and more. And this is beautiful. This is part of the evolution. But as what we're doing, and for what I truly feel our role is to be, people say light workers, whatever you want to call it, people, being some of the first ones to walk this path at this time, being leaders of light, being stewards of the new earth, or whatever you want to call it, it doesn't matter. I think a big part of our role is to, again, go first, and then also be, however we can, being in support of the other, human beings that are going to, walk through this path as well. And as we all know, it's a very challenging path at times. It's very beautiful and rewarding, but it's very challenging because there's a lot of really dark energies on the earth that are, frankly, really freaky, and kind of just have to be transmuted. And that's why we're here. So where was I going with that? Oh yeah, so like being connected to this unshakable, invincible part of yourself, not just cerebrally in your mind, because like that's kind of, again, that's like one of the first parts of spiritual awakening, is just remembering and understanding that. But there's like a difference between understanding that and like really being anchored in that, in your body, in your being. And when it comes to that, that is literally a practice, and that is a skill, and that's a skill that anyone can do. But again, you have to practice it, every day, over and over again, especially in those moments where maybe you fall or you get pulled into something. It's no biggie. Just have compassion for yourself and come back, because this force within you, that's what makes it so beautiful, is it's always here. It's always been here. It always will be here in any now moment. The whatever you want to call it, the devil or whatever, the evil, the dark negative forces will always try to make you be like, oh, it's too late for you. And we should know that that's an illusion. There's always, every now moment is a chance to be free, no matter how deeply entrenched you might be. And I've been there. That's why it makes people so emotional, um, to awaken, or to find Jesus, or things like this, because it's like a lot of people have that experience of being so deeply entrenched and entangled in like the matrix, and and so it's a really amazing experience that we can all tap into, is even in those states, like we have the ability, when we truly remember, again, not just in our minds, but like really feel it in our bodies, in our hearts, and our souls. That's when it's like, oh, I am free, I am sovereign, I am a child of God, I am invincible, I am unshakable. When you really, really, really connect to that part of yourself and live in that state, it's so empowering. And so the reason I'm saying this again is, not only is this, in of itself, for its own sake, important and just beautiful experience overall. There's really no words to describe it, but in this field, in this experience of Earth, it seems like things are just going to keep getting more and more intense. And so this comes through mainly in like our thoughts, our beliefs, our paradigms, and emotions and feelings. It comes through in external happenings and situations and people and relationships. These main ways that we sort of experience reality. I think that it's going to keep kind of getting more intense, not only energetically, but also in ways of like, it's just the transformation. I mean, you could look at it in so many different ways. It's the transformation. On one hand, we're having to be initiated and grow and evolve, and it takes pressure and pain to do that. And or you can look at it in other ways. There are negative forces that are freaking out and pissed off about this that's happening, so like they're desperate to try to get inside of you and try to get inside people around you and control. There's different ways you can look at it, but at the end of the day, it's like these things are getting more desperate, more intense, more tricky, more manipulative, and all these kinds of things. So I think one of the greatest ways to navigate that, and this is my actual, experience, is being in such firm connection with who you really are and making this your really first priority, and practicing this like your life depends on it, because it really does. And if you're like me, you're going to find yourself in situations, or maybe you already are or have, you find yourself in these situations um, where it's like there's really not even an option. There's really no other choice. It's like either just, get completely pulled into the despair, or remember who you are. And for me, getting pulled into the despair is not an option. Actually, it's really not an option. Like I'm not, that's not my jam. I'm not okay with that. I've already been there. It's okay to feel it, but it's like that's not where I'm going to dwell. No matter what is arising. And so whatever it is, whether you have to get to that point, or if or not, just having this practice of being in touch with this unshakable part of yourself, I just think it's the most important and empowering thing that you can do. And that's what I'm all about. I want to be as empowered as possible, and I want everyone, I want you guys to be as empowered as possible. I want everyone who is willing, to be empowered in these times, because these are beautiful and exciting times. And it's just incredible to be a witness to the transformation. And it's incredible but to be a witness to all of it, all of it. So that's really the heart of the message. And I want to go just a little deeper into that as well before I conclude. And thank you all again so much for being here with me. So much love to you all. And always, again, feel free to share anything that comes through for you, or anything you might want to talk about. But something that I want to share as well that goes with this is fear and unworthiness, because I feel like these are two that are really big. Fear has been one of the biggest ways that humanity's been controlled. We've been, as a species, like so inundated with, like, and saturated with this fear, that it's almost hard to even recognize it sometimes, because it's just become such a normal part of like our life. It's such an unconscious habit. That's, as more light is coming on the planet, more light is coming into us, more light is just kind of coming in everywhere. um, it's really like rattling, because everything starts getting exposed and everything starts getting revealed, and all of these ways that we used to just be in, it's like they can no longer remain. It's like we're getting fried, like, we're getting fried like some shrimp out here. It's like the light is so strong, and so it has these it does things that sometimes we don't expect. Like, I know a lot of people start seeing these things, and they think that it's getting worse. And in my experience, it's really not getting worse, it's just getting revealed. And for me, I've been, I first started tapping into some of this stuff in 2012. And to me, that was freaky times. Like, the energy was actually so dense and freaky then compared to now. But now everything is really being revealed, and we're kind of just way more tuned into like the fourth dimension, and the fourth dimension is weird. There's a lot of strange things that we're able to perceive and start more and more perceiving now, whether we realize it or not. And again, a lot of it comes through in these tricky kind of thoughts and paradigms and beliefs, these thought forms or entities, that will try to control you. And so the big thing I want to say on that is just it's so important to remember again who you are. I'm going to say that so many times, and remember your worth. And this is one that's really near and dear to my heart because I know that I have had so many like just deep encounters with unworthiness in my life, in myself, in my lineage, in the collective. And so I remember honestly, like for years, I dealt with head on such like repetitive, convincing, nagging thoughts and feelings of unworthiness, of not being good enough, of shame, of these kinds of things that I think a lot of us either have dealt with or are dealing with. And something encouraging that I want to share about that is that it's just so crazy because it's like I had and because for me like that experience of going through that unworthiness, and this is just me because like I was learning, I was kind of winging it. It was like I was kind of learning how to get through it on my own. It's one thing again to have these to know something like I know I'm worthy. Yeah, of course. I get that. I've always just kind of understood that we're children of God, but like to actually embody your worthiness, and to feel it and to know it in your being, as you're going about your life, that's a whole new level. And, sometimes I think of it as this analogy of like, I have a machete and I'm cutting through these, like thick vines and mangroves of unworthiness for, um, so long. I can think like I feel like last year especially like the whole year, like just everything I was trying to do, it felt like I was like cutting through these thick stalks of unworthiness, not really even knowing if I was ever going to make it, not even knowing if there was ever going to be an end to it. But like, I can say, like the again, the focus and the firmness and the determination though that I had, I feel like really was what kept me driving, you know. And a lot of again, I'm saying this more, it's like hindsight's 2020 when I look back at that. That's just amazing. But the reason I'm bringing that up is one, hopefully that's encouraging if anyone is feeling that because there is an end to it. And for me at least, what that end is like is it's interesting because it's like it's not that those thoughts completely go away, but they stop having power over you. And so now it's like I feel like last year was such a huge initiation for me, like going through like the deepest doubt and unworthiness, like self-doubt that I could possibly imagine. And like every day, waking up with like wrestling with these, just inherent feelings of not being good enough. And, I don't even know where they were all coming from. But at the end of the day, I feel like it was just part of my initiation. But again, my point is just, I hope this is empowering because it's like now it's like I was just realizing recently, I've just been realizing like, man, I haven't had to deal with that. I don't even remember really the last time like I had to deal with um, giving into those kinds of thoughts anymore. Like it's like they really don't seem. You're not saying I don't have challenges still, but it's like they don't phase me anymore. It's like, wow, that's freaking incredible. That's the evolution. It's like, so I just want to encourage people because those things I understand are so deeply embedded. And I think it's so important to be aware of them because I think so many people unconsciously deal with these things and they're so intense. Like these sorts of fears, the ones I'm talking about, but you might have your own in your own way. But this type of fear, this type of shame, this type of unworthiness of not feeling good enough to do what you want to do or feel how you want to feel or just be how you want to be in life, um, are so paralyzing. I think it's a big part of why so many people aren't doing what they want to do or what's holding people back. And again, so much of it is just an illusion, actually. So much of it is just giving into these manipulative, sort of thought forms of, oh yeah, you're not good enough. Oh, and it's going to be on whatever you want to do, probably whatever you're meant to do. If you're meant to bring something forth, whatever that is to you, whatever is really actually special to you, whether that's like a creative project or a business or family or whatever is like really on your heart, that's going to probably be the thing that gets targeted the most, that you feel most insecure about, that you feel most unworthy about. And so this is just, my heartfelt encouragement to you. If anyone's going through that, or you end up finding yourself in that, it's like you will 100% get through that. If you keep pushing it and like don't give up and just stay focused. And you might have setbacks, you might have discouragements, you might have days where you feel like you're losing your mind, you might have breakdowns, whatever it is, um, that's just my experience. It's like I'm like so focused and determined though that I don't really care. Like I'm gonna keep pushing, I'm gonna keep pushing through it. I'm gonna feel what I need to feel. I'm gonna, do my best to stay awake and to stay aware, and just keep doing these things. But hopefully me sharing this, it can save you time in what you were doing, because like I said, I feel like for me, a lot of it was just winging it. I was winging it. A lot of it. It was like, am I ever going to get through this? Like, this is crazy. I wish I could just like really get all of that across with like how difficult that really was for me, and how crazy when I look back. I mean, it's like it really blows my mind. It's like everything I was trying to do, just paralyzing amounts of self-doubt and unworthiness. It's just like, but really though, like I did my best every day to not give into it. Again, I feel what I need to feel. I let it move through my body. I try to be awake to the thoughts, realizing that they're not me. It's not me. um and I think that's all you can do. And then there's like, there's this period maybe of like just like keep having this grit, keep having this focus, keep having this firmness through it, and you will get to the other side 100%. And when you do, you will be so amazed at yourself. You will be like, who? That's how I kind of feel. Honestly, at certain points, I'm like, who even am I? Like, what? Like, I don't like just realizing like how much those kinds of thoughts that used to kill me no longer even really like um it doesn't even like, what's the word? Why am I losing my words today? I don't know. It doesn't even like apply. It doesn't even appeal to me. It doesn't even like, it's just like, if those thoughts come up, it's like there it's no, I have no attachment to it. It's like, okay, like that's cute. Like, whatever, it just has no, so just have faith, if you're having that, or with anything, it's the same way with anything. It's the same way with fear, any form of fear. Just be so honest with yourself, because I know for me, I've had to like just move through so much fear. Because when you're on this path, and also I just want to say hello, everyone. Hello, Leah. If you're still here, it's so good to see you, beautiful sister. Be beautiful, Hardy. Yeah, that's amazing. Hello to Erin, love. Yeah, it can be mastered. Hello, Kalima. I'm so happy to hear that that helps. Oh, Leah's still here. Oh my goodness, it's so good to see you. I haven't seen you in forever on here. I haven't been live as much, but just so much love to you. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, so like yeah, connecting to this but what ties into the unworthiness part is connecting to this unshakable part of yourself. The more you can do that and make that your first priority, to connect to who you really are, remember who you really are, and most importantly, embody who you really are. Not just in your mind, but like living it out and remembering it and starting to feel it in your heart and soul, in your body. That's what really starts to activate the fuck out of you when you start to do that every day, every moment, as much as possible. You remember who you are. You feel that fire in your soul. You feel that force of invincibility. For me, I feel it a lot in my solar plexus, in my stomach, and in my heart. If I really need to pull through some power like that. um It's a lot. But connecting to that part of who you are, because the more you do that, the more these thoughts and feelings and sensations and paradigms and distractions and traps of unworthiness and fear and these thought forms that are trying to host off of you and stop you from being you and stop you from doing what you're actually here to do. That's when these things that seem so insurmountable, you have this moment where it's like it's so irrelevant. It's just like it doesn't even matter. You see it for what it is. You remember who you are, and that is so empowering because again, it's this fear that's been enslaving and paralyzing and debilitating us as human beings for how long now? And it's interesting. I mean, something I've been noticing is sometimes I wake up and it's like I wake up and I have this anxiety, and I share that because maybe someone else, other people feel that as well. And something that helps me with that is one, shielding, and two, um, just recognizing again, like, okay, like I'm experiencing anxiety as an energy. It's not me, it's not who I am, it doesn't define my life, because that's what fear and anxiety and unworthiness and shame, that's what these things, if you're not aware and awake to them, that's an energy that you're experiencing or moving through. It's not you, it's not who you really are. When you can see them as that instead of thinking like it's you, it gives you so much more power to see them for what they are and move through them, and just realize it's energy. It's not something that has to enslave you, it's not something that has to overpower you, it's not something that has to make your identity. It doesn't define you. I think that's so 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 important, because like that fear and that anxiety, I mean, I can't emphasize enough, when that kicks in, it can have you questioning your whole life. It can have you questioning your whole worth. It can have you questioning every life decision you ever made. It can have you questioning if you're a horrible person, or whatever it is that is like your weak point, at that given moment. So my biggest way I deal with that is I wake up. I try to wake up as soon as I can. I recognize it for what it is. I let myself feel what I need to feel without attaching to it. I don't need to understand it. I don't need to try to change it or fix it. I just let it move through, and it moves through me really, really fast. Normally I just breathe through it. I feel it without any resistance. Um, if you have to move, dance, sing, cry out loud, scream, whatever it is, whatever it is. And let it move. And you don't, and then once that energy moves through, you'll have a deeper understanding of it. And you'll know that that's not who you are. And so lately I've just been feeling, because having to go through so many challenges in my external world, it's just brought me to this state where I just feel a lot more grounded in who I really am, and less um, attached to, I guess, what's going on around me. It's more of like a different way of just filtering the consciousness. It's a different way of filtering, again, mainly like the thoughts and the feelings and the happenings that are going on within us and around us. I think what I'm speaking of is um, it's a different way of being, and it's a different way of starting to filter all of these things, instead of processing and filtering them in a way where it's like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with this? It's like, I don't know. It's so hard to put this into words. It's more of an experience of like, yes, okay, like this is happening. This is okay. Like I'm, I am who I am. I'm going to be who I'm going to be. I am who I am. I am what I am. I trust that. I trust my connection to God. I know, I can do this. Like I can move through this. I can move through whatever it is that's arising. And even furthermore, I can look at it as if what is happening is meant to be happening, and it's just something that I am learning from. And sometimes that's hard because, again, like that ego part of us, wants to make everything wrong, or wants to judge things, or wants to be the victim and feel like, no, like this shouldn't be happening. I know, I feel like these are things that we hear all the time in the spiritual community. But again, I think these simple, consistent reminders are most important. Really. I mean, these simple, consistent reminders are like the most important things, because it's so easy to forget them, especially when you are going through a lot, or you're going through challenges. Another thing I want to say on the topic of worthiness is just like just a reminder of trusting yourself, and being very aware that of, I guess, like how others are treating you, and how other people, I guess, how do I say this? I guess just, a reminder to be aware of a lot of people don't realize they're doing this, but sometimes people will kind of gaslight you into feeling like you're not valid, or that your truth isn't valid, or that your experience isn't valid. And I don't know why, but I just feel called to remind, because I've reminded myself of this as well. Sometimes people can be manipulative, whether they mean to or not, and make you feel like um, you're wrong for being who you really are. And we are all allowed to be who we really are, and have our experience, especially if we are at the point where we are genuinely moving from our heart space and doing what we feel is best for ourselves, and best for, if it's what we need to do that's going to honor ourselves, then it's probably what we need to do to honor all. And sometimes people won't agree with that or understand that. And if they're really upset or triggered, then they might try to make you wrong for that, or make you feel guilty for that, or shameful for that. And I just want to have a reminder that to be strong in yourself, and trust yourself, And when people do that kind of thing, my um, what I try to do is I try to be really aware of it, because I've had a few initiations like that, very intense ones, and now sometimes just way more subtle ones, where I'm like, wait a minute, what am I really experiencing? And having those kinds of like loving boundaries, to recognize that, and that I'm valid, and that I'm allowed to have my own experience, even if somebody else doesn't understand it or is condescending towards it. Um, and then I also, but then I also try not to treat that person in a reactive state either, because most people, like, they don't really realize what they're doing, and they're just triggered and upset, and that's not necessarily an excuse for them to mistreat you. But just the way I try to operate, I try not to I try to still keep my heart open towards people, even in, not in a way that's like I'm not standing up for myself, but in a way that's, I just think it's so important to have as much compassion as we can. Again, first for yourself, then for others. But I just think opening the heart genuinely is so important. And sometimes it's really powerful just to have a moment of pause before you react to someone, and what they're doing. Because again, there's just so much unconsciousness on the planet. We all feel it at times. And yeah, so that's just the way I deal with that. But I've been really, really reminded of that deeply. It's like, man, I think that again is like another lesson of worthiness, of worthiness, and that you are worthy of the love that you want. You are worthy of the life that you want. You are worthy of being treated how you want. Again, we're always going to have contrasts, and we're going to have to be, strong enough to deal with contrasting experiences and relationships in our life. But I think that it is valuable to strive towards having relationships in your life that are encouraging you for being who you are, and who genuinely want the best for you, and want you to be happy, and understand what that means to you, you know, not in a way where they're trying to control you, or, you know, they know what's best for you. Trust yourself. You know, I think that's a big thing we're going to have to do more and more, is continue to trust ourselves, and be in tune with our hearts. And this is also a practice, but be in tune with our hearts, you know, where our hearts are leading and guiding us, and trusting that, you know. And sometimes that's easier than other times because sometimes it's going to have you making big jumps. But ultimately, I think we have to trust, you know, I think we have to trust that, because it always will just amaze you. You know, that's been my experience, is I'm always amazed when I do make those jumps. And when I resist those jumps, that's usually times where it's like the worst suffering, you know, because it's like, oh my gosh, you know, it's like an internal conflict kind of thing. Um, but yeah, so I think that's the heart of this message, is again, you know, transforming the darkness, you know, and within ourselves, and, you know, the energies that we're naturally transmuting on the earth, by a big part of it being so deeply connected and awake, and embodying who we really are, this eternal soul, this unshakable, invincible part of ourselves that is unfazed by anything. I mean, it's really crazy. It's actually kind of comical when you're in tune with this part of yourself and your human self is like freaking out. You're like, oh my God, what is happening? And then you tune into this part of yourself that is literally like, so what? You know, what is it? What's the big deal? What are we so worried about? I don't know. I think it's kind of funny. You know, that it's just, this is a part of ourselves within us, within all of us, that we can tap into and embody, that is, again, invincible. It has limitless strength, limitless creativity, limitless love, um, limitless power. I mean, it's just truly incredible. And you know, being in touch with that part of ourselves, it really helps to activate our worthiness, and be able to see through the illusions much more, be able to be not so phased by the thought forms, by the fears. It helps us to be in a state where we can feel everything and be more fluid. And as I've been saying before too, instead of trying to fix everything or fix ourselves, it's like just keeping our focus on what we're creating, and continuing to keep our hearts open for ourselves and for others. So I think that's the biggest thing. And the last thing I'll just add on that before I read these beautiful comments is just be you, be unique. You know, be unique. Um, I think that's so important. You know, it's okay to do things your own way. I feel like with this like Aquarian energy that's so strong, and you know, I'm an Aquarius. I have a lot of Aquarius, so I feel it. Maybe it's just me, or maybe it's everyone, but all this Aquarius energy going on, and going into the age of Aquarius, I just feel a lot of energy around not only humanitarian, you know, like humanitarianism and community and friendship kind of things, which is amazing. You know, really feeling this energy of coming out of isolation and really starting to connect with people and work with people, and build with people more. But there's also definitely a spirit of strangeness, of uniqueness, of innovation, of ingenuity. Um, you know, like just being who you really are, because we are all so unique and different, and we've all been so programmed to have to fit in these boxes. And trust me, I understand the beauty of like traditions. I really do. Like, I get it. Like, I've, you know, there's a lot of ways in which like I've been very traditional person. Like, I get that there, you know, there's a reason for traditions and the old structures. You know, I can honor that. I really can. But at the same time, sometimes your soul is going to have you breaking all of these rules. And I think as long as you're in your heart and you're doing it from a genuine place, you know, you just have to trust that. um you know, you just have to trust that there's definitely this energy of being you, of doing it your own way. You know, you don't have to do things the way that everyone else has done them, or is telling you you need to do them, or if you don't do it this way, then you're wrong. There's so many old beliefs and paradigms. I can't stop using the word paradigm, because paradigm, it's a belief system. It's like a whole system. It's not just a belief, it's a system of beliefs. And a lot of the things that we've adopted aren't even our own. These old sort of traditional beliefs. And again, there's probably a reason for them. People need structure. If people don't have any structure in their lives, most people are going to go nuts. So I understand why we have them, but at the same time, that's what's that saying? Like you understand the rules, so you know how to break the rules, kind of thing. It's like, so just trust where your soul is guiding you. Do things your own way, and trust that you don't have to follow and conform to the way everyone else is doing it or telling you need to do it, because your soul knows how to do it. Your soul already knows how to do it. Whatever you want to do and create in this life, you got to make that clear to your soul. And then your whole job then is to get out of your soul's way, pretty much, and let your soul guide you, because your soul knows exactly how to do these things. It's just, but what I can promise you is that your soul knows how to do it. And I can also promise you, though, that your soul is going to do it in ways that your ego self, your human self, is not going to understand all the time. And not only that, but sometimes, and this is literally my own experience recently, um, your soul is gonna start manifesting your dreams, your creations, sometimes in ways that your ego is going to literally despise. It's going to be like, what? Like, are you kidding me? Like, what is happening? My life is falling apart, kind of thing. And it's one thing to joke about that, and other people talk about it all the time. But when you're really going through it, and we've all been through it for sure, but like, it's kind of like it doesn't just stop. It seems like it's a kind of a continual evolution. Um, that we just have to be kind of pushed out of our comfort zone. But my point is that, this is why, like, for me, I just have to really learn. I've just had to learn deeper and deeper levels of trust, and letting go of my ego's control, and just letting my soul work, letting my soul cook. Just let it cook, let it do what it's doing. It's like, you might not see the full picture yet. You might be like, why are you adding these ingredients, or why are you taking these things away? And for me, and this is the last thing I'll say, is, speaking of this, is like, the more I can just trust and keep my eye on the prize, stay focused, whatever that is, whether that's whatever I'm creating, mainly like states of being, if I want to feel more peace, more calm, more abundance, more joy, more creativity. I think the most powerful thing we can do is focus on how we want to feel, and practice feeling it now. It's practice, gratitude, whatever it is, feeling it now. Because that's how you're going to manifest and create that in your life and internally, and it will naturally mirror around you in your life. That's what we're doing. That's what we can do as creator beings. But so so the more I can keep my focus on that, on what I'm creating, and stay committed, again, like laser beam focus on what I'm creating, and less and less get pulled into the drama of, oh my God, why is this happening? Why am I feeling this way? Why am I thinking this? Why is this happening? And all this sort of stuff, that it's okay. It's not a big deal. Don't beat yourself up about it. It's just like, I think the more I go on this path, the more I see it's kind of just a distraction at this point. It's kind of just like stuff that's like, not to invalidate it, because it is part of our ego, and that part of ourselves that's really, having to evolve. And I can love that and honor that and respect that. But I guess just like having a more like smooth process of understanding that, and communicating, and getting on the same page with myself, and staying focused, rather than having to get pulled into like all of these like dramas about, oh my gosh, what's happening. It's like, it is what it is, and it's all, actually happening for a reason. And the more you tune into your light, because again, this is the whole message, is you are the light, regardless of what's going on around you. The more you can remember just who you are, the more invincible you're just going to be. That's the message. Really, honestly, the more you can remember who you are truly and embody it, the more invincible you're going to be. No matter what you're going through, no matter what your thoughts or feelings or happenings, because the truth is that we all have to go through things in life at times. That's just sort of how it is. And it gives us the opportunity to choose to be in new ways. Are we going to have a struggle, and are we going to have a challenge, and we're going to go how we used to be and be like, oh my gosh, this is horrible, poor me, what am I going to do? Or can we choose to see it in a new light? Maybe be a little stronger, maybe be a little more empowered, maybe be a little wiser. Again, absolutely no shame for any experience, absolutely no shame for any feeling or any thought. That's not the point at all. There's no judgment. You don't need to judge it. Um, you don't, it's kind of like, again, that's just sort of part of the distraction. Hopefully this makes sense. I feel like you guys get it, but it's like, I know I'm all over the place with it, but it's just, the energy is all over the place with it. So, oh my goodness. More than anything, though, I just hope you feel this love and this encouragement. I am so grateful. I just went through so many crazy experiences that I never thought I'd go through. And maybe I'll open up more about that specifically one day. But I can tell you that was a lot. And there's so many times in those moments where I was like, man, like, am I ever gonna come out of this? Like, what is wrong with me? Am I crazy? I'm losing my mind. The whole enchilada. And all I can say is that you know clarity comes. It does come. And when it comes, it's, at least for me, it comes in strong. And now when I look back at those challenges in my life, every single day, I realize how much they served me. I mean, for real. And so this is just another simple reminder, that we all need from time to time if you're going through it, because it's just so easy. When you're going through something, it's so easy to be like, my life is falling apart. This shouldn't be happening. What's wrong with me? I'm being punished. The whole victim egotistical rhetoric. And so this is the challenge, is to start to see it for what it is and not have to suffer so much. Even if you're suffering, you don't have to suffer so much. It's like, because when I look, and I was able to, have a lot of, despite this challenge, I know I was able to have a lot of grace. And the more I was able to have this grace with myself, regardless of the situation, that's when it really started to clarify and resolve itself. And again, when I look back at how hard some of that stuff was, um, I mean, it's just so clear to me. It's just so clear to me that it served me, and I think for all of us, we can look back at the most challenging times in our life, maybe the most painful or whatever, and once you are moved through it, and you look back at that time in your life, it's like, it's for me, it's always like, thank God I went through that, though. I mean, like, that sucked. I hope I don't want to go through that again. I want to learn my lesson. Um, but thank God I went through that because I needed that lesson. I can't be out here living my life without that lesson. It's like, I can't be out here living my life not having boundaries, or not knowing my worth, or being pulled into every fear that arises, or keep being controlled by the external world. I can't go throughout my life keep being controlled by these thoughts. I can't keep going through my life being numb to how I'm feeling. All of these types of things. It's like, thank God we're learning this stuff. And we're going to keep learning it until we really master it. And there's so many things that, um, again, we're a lot of us are leaders. We're stewards. We're doing this first. And, I don't mean leaders in the way that a lot of people think, but it's like, people call it way showers. Um, whatever it is, it's like, a lot of us were the first ones in our family lineage to be doing this kind of stuff. We're the first ones, maybe in our community, in our friendships, first people that we know, or some of the few people that we know. um, So again, just have so much grace and compassion for yourself and honor for yourself, and just trust. Okay, I always say this every time. This is the last thing I'm going to say, but for real. Because the reason you're going through these challenges, and this just dawned on me so hardcore, and it's still dawning on me, the reason you're going through such hard challenges, that you're like I was saying before, you feel like you just have to wing it because nobody's ever done this, nobody's taught you how to do this. This is like, you just have to get over yourself in these ways, that it's like, you might be able to read a book, or somebody's it might be able to tell you something and help you, but at the end of the day, like, you have to pull up your own strength and wisdom, and you kind of have to wing it sometimes. But the reason for that is not only for your own evolution, but because there will come time, if not already, I promise you this, there will come times in your life where you're going to use this experience, this wisdom, this knowledge that you gained firsthand. You're going to be asked to use this to help others. And it already helps others just by you creating this blueprint. But for many of us, I've been just feeling this so strongly. It's like, and some people might not like this, but we're going to be leaders. We are leaders. We are going to be leaders. And it doesn't mean like how people think. It doesn't mean you're necessarily going to be like leading an army. It's not even what I mean. Maybe, if that's your thing, but I'm just talking about being a leader in your life, being a leader in your community. And even if you don't think you have a community, you have people in your life. Maybe that's your family, maybe it's your friends, maybe it's just an online group. But at the end of the day, you have a presence, and your presence affects people, it affects people in your life. And hopefully you have um, relationships in your life. And if not, maybe that's something to think about, and starting to have beautiful relationships in your life. And sometimes, yeah, I mean, with most of us and our family, these are challenging relationships. But that's what I mean, is like, we're going to be help, at some point, if you're not already, you're going to see how your energy is influencing people. We're always, kind of influencing people or being influenced by people, especially if we are, not totally awake. But you're gonna see how, like, your character, like your development, your evolution, your light, your embodiment, all the lessons that you've had to learn by, you know, winging it, through your own experience. These are going to be the things that you're going to be able to really serve humanity with. And you already are now, in ways you probably don't even realize. Because again, service doesn't have to be this grandiose gesture of like this huge heroic thing, this huge heroic deed where you save a million people. Most people aren't going to have that. And that's not even the point. There is a divine design to where um, you're gonna help and meet the people you're meant to help and meet, and it might not be in ways that you think, and it might just be the people in your family. It might just be your friends, and it might just be a thankless job, at least at first. People might not be like, oh my God, you really made me realize these things. They might eventually. I've had that happen to me multiple times. Where people at first really are triggered and resisted by me or how I'm living. And, as it were, that things end up turning around, and I end up, receiving something like that from someone. But it's not even about that anyways. It's really not even about that. But I'm just saying that so that way you can know that for yourself and start to see yourself in that way, because you are a leader of light, especially if you're watching this and you're still watching this and listening to me ramble on about all this stuff. Like, you are definitely a leader of light. You already are. And the ways in which that will manifest in your life will likely come to be more and more and more. And it will probably be in ways that you're not maybe expecting. But the beautiful thing is, and I encourage this for everyone who's listening, is to start playfully thinking about it and realizing it and envisioning it and planting those seeds. Um, and not having shame for who you are. You are worthy of it. Not having shame for who you are. Don't be ashamed of your light. Don't be ashamed of your brilliance. Embrace that. Embrace it. Shine it. Now's the time to shine it and embrace it, because it's who you are. And it might trigger people, but guess what? It's who we all are. It's just a lot of people don't remember. It's not that you're better than them. It's not that we're better than them. That's kind of like the trap. Is like, oh, you should feel guilty. Don't embrace who you are. You stay small, stay quiet, stay tucked away. It's like embrace who you are, shine and be who you are. That's again the whole beginning part of this. If you missed it, it's like being in your worthiness and not um, succumbing to these thoughts and these voices, whether it's people or your family or the voices in your own head. Not just getting to this point, whatever it takes, to no longer be phased by those lies that you're not good enough, that you're not worthy enough, that you're too this, you're too that, you're not enough this. Just shut up. Just shut up. No, it's just be who you are, do what you came here to do. That's it. Keep your focus on that, because that's there for a reason. And again, if you're struggling with the fear or the unworthiness or anything else of that nature, just know that you'll get through it. I promise you. Just keep pushing, because you will get through it. I promise you. That's what nobody really tells you, is that is like, when you're winging it, you're like, I might not get through it. And that is a part of the element of the challenge, is the uncertainty, but you will get through it. And you just got to not give up. Don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on what you want. Don't give up on how you want to feel and how you want to be in this world. I mean, I'm talking determination. That's the solar plexus chakra. And we all have it. We all have it. And the more you struggle with it, the more you're going to be rewarded when you come out the other side of it. 100 million%. I mean, that's my direct experience. I'm currently in that season, that phase of my life where I'm feeling, those rewards, if you will, of like just such deep, blind faith and grit and just pushing and pushing and pushing, you know. So I just want to, again, so much love and encouragement to everyone. I'm going to read some of these things here. Some beautiful inspiration that everybody shares. Hello, Anthony. If you're still here, I'm so glad you got your CD and that you're listening to it. Good to see you. Leah is dropping some wisdom and inspiration. Thank you so much. Unconditional love for self is love without condition for self. Love for the whole of self and all you were, are, and will be. Yes, amazing. Hello, I am stayed. Chaz Magusi, best place to meet a nice girl in 2024. Oh, I don't know. I'm sorry, that's a hard question. Um, the biggest thing I can say is just having, this is just how I create things in my life, is just getting clear on I guess how you want to feel, what you want, out of a relationship, how it would feel to meet a nice girl, and really practice that and set those intentions, and it'll happen. um, I don't know anything really about dating, to be honest. I don't know where people even meet, so I really don't know what to tell you. I know that's not really a practical answer, but I will tell you that the most important people I've met in my life, in all ways, whether it was romantic or friendship or whatever, it's always been in ways that I couldn't have planned. It's always been in ways that I couldn't have planned or made up, or intended, or not intended, but it always happens when I'm not expecting it, you know? And so I don't know. I hope that's helpful. I don't know. Maybe somebody else has an idea. Or maybe going to like events or going to things that you're into, things that you're into. I think that's just important in general for all of us. If you haven't done that already, think about going to events, going to places, whether you have to travel or locally, like actually going out and participating in things that interest you, things that you're passionate about, whatever it is, something with spirituality or music or art, or maybe something totally random that you're into. I don't know. That's where I've met really amazing people. And yeah, that's the best thing I think I can say about that. Thank you, Keith, for being here. So glad to hear that you're experiencing, um, you know, something as magical as this. So happy again you're here, Leah. Please always share as much as your heart desires. It's always good stuff. Soul food. I got the CD in the mail and then I listened to it in my car while I drive through the rainy farmlands of Oregon. Oh my gosh, that's cool. I could see that. That makes sense. Leah, when you fall, get back up and don't beat yourself up. It's what you're also saying. Exactly. Be via TV makes a lot of sense. Whenever in my life I did things that deep down I wanted to do, my life and happiness improved 10 times. Yes, exactly. Sometimes you got to risk it for the biscuit. Sometimes you got I think that's what, sets apart sometimes, really, really happy people from people that feel very kind of more repressed or stuck is I think a lot of times, like if you're going to really pursue your happiness and be serious about it, and that's, how I live my life, like there's going to be times when you have to take chances and you have to take risks. And, you'll know in your heart, you'll feel it. You'll start feeling it. It feels like a magnetic pull. And you don't have to be impulsive about it. I've learned, sometimes if that's what really feels right, but you can sit with it for a while and feel it and get really clear on it. And it'll reveal itself to you. Be like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to take the chance. And every time in my life I've done that, it's always been incredible. Hello, Joe. Good to see you. Rick Bonner in the house. Hello. Oh my gosh. So many beautiful beings. How am I so blessed to be in contact with? We are building our teams, our soul families, by embodying ourselves and loving ourselves and others, leading the way. Exactly. Hello, Adventures in Art. Thank you. Yes, Kalima, I feel that. You will. Says it'd be really cool to meet someone who thinks like me for once in my life. You will. You will, trust me. Set that intention. I'm telling you, set that intention. Because I set that intention years ago. And again, it's just crazy how this stuff happens. Because, like, you'll set intentions like that and you won't, and then, like, you'll start working on it. And, like, for me at least, like I'll forget sometimes, and then like I'll just sort of like realize like, oh my god, I'm surrounded by soul family every freaking day. I'm surrounded by people that I love, that love me, that support me. Like, wow, like that's literally incredible. Is this real life? Like, am I dead? Like, it's really, really so exciting. And again, I say that only because that's what's coming for all of us. That's what's possible for all of us. Many of us have been very isolated, or had phases of isolation or go through those phases, and it's necessary. It's necessary. And there's such a, like I said, with this unshakable part of yourself, there's such a, there's something that's just the greatest experience ever about coming home to yourself and loving yourself no matter what, and having this feeling. I mean, I don't even know. There's really nothing like it. There's really nothing like this feeling of just knowing you've got yourself. That you've got yourself in whatever way you need. You've got yourself, and that you love yourself no matter what anyone else thinks, what anyone else has to say about it, or what anyone else thinks about you, because you can be an amazing person. And sometimes You might be the villain in someone else's story, or you might, temporarily be, and it might be literally just from being who you are, and for those of us who are really sensitive, really empathic, that's a lot for us to take. But it's okay. It's okay. Just try to keep your heart open, and have compassion first for yourself and for others. There's a lot of people who are very manipulative, and they might not even know they're being manipulative. And for us, I think our biggest job is to not allow ourselves to be manipulated and to be tricked by those fears, by those guilt, by those shames, by being talked down to and disrespected, or um, just told that, no, you can't feel that way. That way you feel is wrong. The way you feel is stupid. Just invalidating. I don't know, like all these kinds of things. Like can be very manipulative. And sometimes they mean it, and most times they don't. Um, so I think it's important for us to not be manipulated by people in these times, and have a lot of discernment. And at the same time, if possible, if you can have the whole enchilada, you have these strong enough boundaries to where you're not going to be phased by people like that, and you can still have compassion for them. It doesn't have to be um, drama or war. It's just sort of like, okay, that's where you're at. This is where I'm at, and I'm going to be who I'm going to be either way. Hello, Fuzzy. Love you too. Thank you for being here. Rick Bronner, shine that light of yours. You too. Thank you so much. Serious dog star determination. Tenacious like a bulldog. I love that. Oh, Tony. Sorry, my bad. Joe says, I met lots of good folks in hiking groups. Jump and your life will appear. Amen. I'm telling you. Oh, Ashman, hello. So happy to see you here. I got a box from Trader Joe's for groceries, and the box was tenebrious wine. Amanda, hello. Once you place the request, it takes 1 to 5 years for preparation and delivery. But if you want the real deal, it's worth it. It's worth the wait. So freaking true. Isn't it just amazing? I mean, we're creator beings. Again, I'm just gonna have to have these simple reminders all the time, because I have to for myself, and I think it's helpful for all of us. Just encouragement. Again, it's like, I think so many of us, it's like we already have the information, we already have the knowledge. It's the need to apply it and embody it now. And it's something that's so helpful for that is reminders and just encouragement, just being encouraged, being supported. It's like having, I guess, like cheerleaders in your life. I think that's so important, to have people that just want to build you up and support you, because there's just so much power in that. There's so much, speaking about like going through a challenging time. This has been the first time, I think, in my life that I went through a challenging time where I've been so open to people in my life. And I've reached out for help. I've reached out to people, and shared what I was going through. And I have so many beautiful people in my life that are happy to help, that, I've helped in many ways, and, they help me. And so I don't know. I don't know why I share that there's just something really profound about, I think there's something heart opening about that, about, um, not having to do everything alone. For many of us, we've always done everything alone. And there is, again, a necessity in that, to be able to know that you've got yourself. But then there's also something really beautiful about community, and about being able to share, and being able to give, and being able to receive, and being able to help each other through, all these different kinds of experiences, and we all get to benefit from it. Well, now that's why we all like it here at your place, Regan, for the encouragement that we get. Encouragement. Oh my gosh. So much love to all of you. Well, let's see. How long has it been? Oh my, it's been an hour. It's been over an hour. Time flies. I'm telling you guys, it's crazy. Like, again, like the thing about showing up, when I got on here, it's like I don't even know what I'm gonna say. I try to have like a few ideas. Sometimes if I'm really crazy, I'll even write down like bullet points, and I find like it's like nothing competes with just the natural flow. So I encourage all of you to flow, and find something creative, you know. Um, oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I got this book that it's called. Oh my gosh, can I not remember the title of it? I think it's called The Artist's Way. I can confirm that later. Yes, if Keith's here, I know he's reading that book. If he's still here, maybe he can do it. Why can I not remember the title? But anyways, it's about the creative path and tapping into your creativity as a spiritual practice. And something so beautiful that she talks about is there's a couple practices that the author recommends, and one of them she calls morning pages. And I thought this was really interesting because this is actually something I've kind of already done for many years and it has helped me. Okay, yeah, it is. Called The Artist's Way. Um, but now I've been doing it every day because I'm like, this is a genius. It's basically just the practice of as soon as you can, when you wake up in the morning, getting a notebook and writing 3 pages. And that's it. So it's like just writing anything without judgment, no matter what it is, no matter how stupid it might sound or how um, whatever, just getting it's basically like just like brain draining, like brain dumping, like first thing in the morning, 3 full pages, writing it out, whatever. Just writing out whatever. Maybe it's your anxiety, or maybe it's your worries, maybe it's your to do list or your inspiration or whatever you're feeling in that morning. Because we all know every single morning these days is like completely drastically different from the last morning sometimes. But the whole point is to it's basically the whole idea is like by doing that, you start to um, unblock anything that's like sort of clogging your creative channels. Whether you're a writer or not, it has nothing to do with writing. You're not going to show this to anyone. You're not, um, that's not the point. It's literally just about starting to get your creative channels open again. And it's really powerful. It's really effective. So if that's something, that calls out to someone, it's really powerful, especially if you do wake up with anxiety or something. There's something that really great about just like being able to take that from your mind and just get it on paper. And then you might even realize like, what am I so worried about? What even is that? Is it even me? Is it even me? Or maybe it's something else. Apocalypse fetish. Oh, moving to Idaho soon. That's amazing. I used to live in Idaho for a very short time. I was in Riggins, the river town, so freaking beautiful, and Moscow on the border. Yeah, good times. Good times. So pretty. Oh my gosh. I can't even tell you how much like my Ohioan brain was like blown when we first got there, and just seeing the mountains and the Rockies and the river, and just completely different reality out there. It's like a completely different universe. And I think I returned there 1 or 2 times since then, but it's been many years. So good for you. That's beautiful. I love it out there. Leah, my favorite incarnation was on the border between Montana and Wyoming as part of both Crow and Cheyenne tribes. Wow, that's really interesting. That's really interesting. I'd love to hear about that. Well, you guys, I think that I think it's time for me to get off of here. Oh my goodness. Hello, Mau Mau, Transcode du jour. Thank you so much for this super duper chat. Practice feeling presence. Blessed be ye, Reagan Keeley, for so beautifully leading the charge of the Inner Light Brigade. Thank you so much. That's so awesome. Well, any final thoughts, anyone? Anyone else have anything to share before we go? Now's your chance. Or hold your peace until next week. I am doing this every week to the best of my ability, just kind of flowing with it. I don't have an exact date and time. Maybe I'll do that eventually, especially if that's something that would be beneficial for you guys, because then, you would know. But yeah, I'm definitely feeling doing this every week. It's just so great to connect with everyone. And I guess the last thing I'll say is I also have a newsletter. If you're not subscribed, you can just subscribe on my website, transformingthedarkness.com. I'm starting to send more of those, just kind of personal shares in the form of writing about stuff that I'm feeling and going through. And it seems to be a hit. It seems like it's helpful for people. I know it's helpful for me. So if that's something you're interested in, then you can sign up for that. And then also you'll be updated on anything else. I have some pretty amazing offerings that I'm working on and designing right now. I'm not going to share too much on that because it's like I started the creative process on that, and it ended up just kind of expanding into so many more things than I expected. But I'm having so much fun with it. I'm having so much fun with it. And I can't wait to share more with you guys. And more music for sure, for sure, for sure. Definitely more music. I'm currently working on getting ready to like start actually playing and performing out more. That's been a big dream and goal of mine. So I'll share more on that as well. That's definitely going to be something that manifests this year for me. And I just can't wait. I just can't wait. 2024 is such a powerful year. I mean, it really is. It's like a kick in the ass, but in a good way. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, again, thank you all so much for the love and support and just being you and being here at this time. So badass. Like, just so freaking gorgeous beings that you are. Happy 222 portal, if you're into that kind of thing. Twos are always potent. Yeah, just so much love to you all. Just one final breath. See you all next week. Take care. Love yourself. Be so gentle with yourself. Bye.